Okay, so welcome everybody to Freedom Union Call Wednesday night. I always love our team call nights. It's an opportunity for us to grow, to learn, to share, and to be badasses. So tonight I want to lead with stories and mindset. I asked Wes to jump on. He's not a Beachbody coach. He does fitness, but I asked him to come on to share his story. And it's really funny how we met because I met him just randomly on social media. It was one of those like friends who you may know kind of thing. And at the time I was like, I really wanted some like success, business, entrepreneurs, people that just were like a positive in my life. And he was a friend of a friend, like I said, and I just went to his page and he had a ton of personal development on his page. And I was like, add friend. Like, I didn't know who he was. And then I was like, it may be weird. He may accept it. I don't know. But then I just watched him for a little while. And I don't know when I reached out to was like, hey, dude, I really appreciate your page. And then we just randomly started chatting. He has an incredible knowledge about personal development. Like whatever he says, like be sure to take notes, have pen and paper. This is recorded so you'll be able to watch it later. But I want him to tell a story, like where he started, what he does now, how he got to where he is. And I want you just to like take in the entrepreneurship of just everything and stories. You guys all know me. I lead with stories. I lead with like what drives your heart. And so I will let Wesley take it away. Wesley, whatever I say Wesley. I don't know why.
Yeah, Wes is fine.
Okay.
I appreciate the introduction. I mean, it just shows you that if you're just committed to bettering yourself, personal developing yourself, you make an impact in people's lives, whether you know it or not, I mean, so I'm talking to you guys all over the United States right now, which is pretty cool, and that was never my intention to start with. My background is in exercise science. I went to school at Iowa State. From a young age, I knew I wanted to do something with sports or athletics or something. So I had that passion before that. But really going through school, I wanted to be a strength and conditioning coach, and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to get that done. I didn't really wasn't going to get my master's. So after a few odds and ends jobs, I just started working as a trainer at a gym, and it's eventually led to me gaining enough clients to start my own facility. And we've been up since 2011. We're one of the best gyms, and I run a hardcore powerlifting gym, and we're one of the best in the nation. So we're one of the top gyms in the nation. We have 4 world record holders. We have over 200 members. Our apparel sells really well online. So it's how it's worked out is never how you imagine. So, but I've had about 1 million jobs before this one to get to this point. It all made sense. Now I'll look back to all the dots that are starting to connect. But that's right now, and we're on our 5th year operating, and we just keep trying to develop and grow bigger.
So tell me the time we were talking the other day on the phone. Tell me the moment to where you first dove into personal development and why you started. Like what made it click for you? What was like your lowest of lows? What you did after college, like that kind of thing.
That's a good question. I would say in 2013, and I've been competing in powerlifting since the age of 16. And at the age of 23, I wanted to get serious about powerlifting. And what I mean, just wanted to, there's rankings, there's world rankings, there's national rankings. I wanted to be one of the best. And that's still my goal. So by the time I was 23, I reached my pro total. By the age of 30, I was top 5 in the world in my weight class, but the gap between 5 and first and me was quite a bit. So I felt like there was something missing, and I had a lot of self-doubt. And this was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I reached out to somebody that I watched on YouTube all the time named Jarrett Grossman. And Jarrett, we had our first initial call. He sent me a questionnaire, and I didn't know what I called him, but I just did. And he reached out to me and sent me this questionnaire. I filled it out. I took it really seriously and put my heart on that piece of paper. And he called me back immediately. We talked for 2 hours, and the initial talks were about powerlifting, and then everything else turned to everyday life stuff, and eventually led to us me just setting my schedule where I have personal development. So I set it on an hour and a half of my day, last 3 years, for some kind of personal development, whether it was my working out or I was reading, listening to ebooks. I'm big on books, or listening to YouTube videos, whatever it was. I did an hour and a half of personal development. And through that, I've been able to service my clients a different way. I've been able to, and the impact that it's making, not only me, but outwardly was huge. And I didn't notice it right away. And I think I think it's just such a process. And Les Brown talks about it all the time. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Les Brown. He talks about motivation is something you need every single day. It's like shower. So, if it wasn't on my Google Calendar, I just wouldn't get it done. So that was a big deal for me to actually put in my calendar an hour and a half a day. I would never miss a workout, so that was the easy part. But I was on the days I didn't work out. What would I be doing for that hour and a half? Probably nothing. So read, and it doesn't really have to be. It could be something on personal. It could be just something that's going to make you better. Progress equals happiness. So anything that we can do to end forward is the right direction.
That's awesome. What would you say would be the biggest struggle with starting up your own business?
Yeah, I would say the biggest struggle to start with is I had a desire for it, and I never questioned my desire. And what I questioned was I didn't have the faith in my own abilities. And I feel like a lot of people starting off are in that very spot. They may have this deep passion. You wouldn't be on this call if you didn't have a passion. You wouldn't be doing this right now. But where a lot of people go wrong to start with is they don't have enough faith in their own abilities to do something. And I mean unwavering faith. Now, I mean something that no matter what, you're going to see it through to the bitter end. And that's pretty important. That really boils down to your self-talk. So 80% of your actions are controlled by your subconscious. So if your subconscious is telling you, hey, this is going to be a risk. You may fail at this. Hey, you're big boned. You can't lose weight. I mean, you're going to fail just like you have all the other things. We're going to find a way to get back to where that subconscious wants you to be. So one of the things I worked on right away, starting probably 3.5 years ago, was cleaning up my self-talk. The self-talk needs to be loving. Always has to be loving. We're all just talking to mirrors to each other. So you see somebody and you see this all the time on social media, especially people making posts and talking about videos or making videos. Everybody's just talking into a mirror, and everybody's in a different part of their journey. So, I mean, for me personally, it was definitely cleaning up that self-talk, and that was a huge game changer for me. And starting to invest in myself, starting to literally believe in myself at another level that I never have. And that's the difference between that first place powerlifter and the 5th place, is faith in your own abilities. Because if you don't have faith in your own abilities, I don't care how motivated you are, you're going to take a little bit of an action, and that's going to produce a little bit of a result. And then the next thing after action is a failure. And when you have that, you're going to say, see, I told you couldn't do this. And it's going to further the self-fulfilling prophecy. So you got to be really careful with that inner talk. And you can change that right now today. It doesn't have to wait at all. You can change that this very second. So, and that starts with everything that comes out of your mouth, start filtering. And every little thought you have in your head that you're not thinking, that you don't say out loud, needs to be cleaned up. So you need to auto-regulate that. So when you have a thought and you have an unloving thought in your head, you need to correct it. Hey, what should I have said there? What should I be thinking right here? So that was a game changer for me.
That's so awesome. Whoever thought strangers on social media could have like the same freaking belief in something?
Oh, yeah, we all are. I mean, society is it's so hard, and we're brainwashed. I mean, not brainwashed. We're surrounded by stuff controlling our subconscious. So for the first 6 years of your life, your subconscious is developed, and So we are doing a lot of things based off how we were raised, but then also think about what affects our subconscious, the radios we listen to, the TVs we listen to, the 5 closest people in your life that you're influenced by. And it could be people nagging, it could be people complaining, it could be this and this, not doing this, I want to be here, you know. So if you change that self-talk and the people who surround you, it makes a huge impact outwardly. And I can't tell you how important that step was. And I had done other things in my life where I had a desire for, but I just didn't really have the complete faith in myself that I could see it through to the end.
So going off of that,
Mm-hmm.
the day, like when you decided to leave Gold's Gym and do everything on your own,
Yeah.
Tell me that thought process. Like, what was it? Did you just like jump?
Yeah.
Did you plan? What did you do?
Our gym, my gym had been up and going and functioning as a powerlifting gym, even when I was a director of another gym in town. It's kind of this weird thing. People are like, you had 2 gyms? I'm like, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I did. But I was in charge of sales in another gym. So, but my powerlifting gym is such a niche thing. And everybody's like, why don't you just go there and work full time? And at that time, I just didn't have enough faith that I could make it work. I wanted to, but I just wasn't, we all want to work for ourselves. So you guys are on this call for that very reason, but I just didn't really have that faith to make it work. And it's scary making that initial jump. And I almost think, this sounds weird, but I almost think you have to get mad enough or pissed off enough, or you almost have to be shoved in that position where you have to take that first step. And then I call it kind of like that. You almost have to be pissed off for greatness, You have to be mad enough to make it happen. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys shaking your head. I mean, you can relate to that. But it's the truth. Like I was mad they kept screwing with my compensation plan at Gold. So, and I was pissed. I was going to prove it to them that I could make it happen. So I was on a mission when I left there, man. That day, I recruited all my clients. By the next day, I was up and running. I didn't lose one beat. I didn't lose one bit. But I was highly, highly motivated because I was pissed off. So that helped. But how many people try to do it a little bit 80-20? It just doesn't work. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the story of, this reminds me of that story, but I don't know if you ever heard like the story of Cortez. And I'm probably going to butcher this, but I'll get as close as I can. But Cortez is an explorer who came over from a far land, and he was telling everybody about conquering this new land. And halfway through the trip over, everybody was famished. They were getting tired. They were sick. And they made it all the way to this new land. And they discovered it was already taken by someone. And so they wanted to turn back. And so Napoleon had to give this like speech over again, like, hey, we came here with a purpose. This is going to be our land. And he got them all fired up again. And his first call to order, his first action was to burn the boats. So his very first thing he had them do was burn the boats. All right, so what the heck does that mean, burn the boats? It means if you were out there fighting, you always had that option to leave. But if you don't have that option, you fight completely different. So cutting that cord and saying, holy crap, this is how I'm going to make my damn income is by this job, by my new gym, 22nd Street Barbell. That was it. I paid all my bills off that. I hustled on a whole different level than I did when I just had Golds on the side. So I think that's really important, that you cut off all other supplies given you, and you go all in. You got to be all in.
Oh, I love it. But taking that risk is so scary.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
Yeah, I agree.
So
another good analogy on that. Sorry, another good analogy on that though is like, another good analogy on that is like a space shuttle going to the moon, right? It uses 80% of its fuel to get started. After that, it goes to the moon and back on 20% of its fuel. So just getting started is the damn hardest part. I promise you. If you have enough faith in your abilities and you have enough why of what you're doing, then you will see it through. But the first part is so hard. The first 3 or 4 months.
Sorry, I'm like writing and like listening.
No, that's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
That's good. So you had a really interesting viewpoint about balance.
About what? I'm sorry.
As coaching about balance.
Oh yeah.
Remember when Yeah. So, okay. So balance. Okay. So let me preface this. So as coaches, it's like, I do this full time. And so I'm like, people are like, how do you do your work hour? I'm like, well, I have a day. Other people, they've got full-time jobs and they're mommies and dads, and, so they've got to like crunch it in. And I'm in the season of like hustle and like grind and like, this is what I want to do. But then there's others that need the balance, that need it, like that have to have it. But you had such an interesting way of presenting it so share that.
I mean, I get this a lot because I'm a workaholic. I'll work 12, 15-hour days, no problem. But I get this, and you guys have all probably heard this. Shake your head if you have, but you need to have balance in life. You need to be, doing other things. You need to find some kind of happy medium between this stuff. And I'm always at that thought, because without balance, we wouldn't be talking on a phone to other people in the nation. I mean, if we all balance, this wouldn't be invented. These telephones wouldn't be invented. The cars we drive wouldn't be. We wouldn't fly in airplanes if there was balance. Tell that to the Wright brothers about balance. That was their passion. That's what they dove their energy into. And in fact, I tell it to me, and he's been really successful here in town and here in Des Moines. And I like this guy a lot. He said, Wes, he goes, find a way to make a balance. And I said, Jeff, no, man, but when you're 10 years of your job, how many hours a week did you work? What did you do? Did you take time off? Did you take days off? 3 days off on the weekends? Did you leave on vacations? You did none of that. So he understood after I explained it to him, but I'd always cringe at balance thing. I think that's important, but not in the beginning. You can't. And everybody's balance is a matter of perspective too. So, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you got to hustle and you got to put in your own amount of work. And I'm always in this mindset that I'm going to outwork somebody, and I may not be smarter or have more talent, but I'm going to flat out outwork you. So they're taking days off. They're going on vacation, I'm gaining weeks. So if I'm willing to work 6 days a week and they're willing to work 5, what if I'm willing to work 7? So, and I did for a long time. So I hate the whole balance thing. I really do. I'm nuts.
No, that's because that's your goals and that's what you
want. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think people that use the balance word have given up on their passion. They really have. They're 9 to 5 and they don't have any dreams. They're not trying to make something. They're not trying to hustle and make something come true. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. Their journey, but they can't tell you. Don't let them dictate. That's another person's opinion of you. It doesn't have to become your reality. So that's huge. That's classic Les Brown stuff there. So.
Mm-hmm. So let's switch gears for a little bit. Yep. So gratitude, huge. I live off of gratitude. I teach it. I praise it. As coaches, we live off of it. So I want to ask you, what are you grateful for in your life most recently? Like right now, what are you most grateful for? I
was actually thinking about this the other day. And we get those questionnaires like, what are you the most proud of in your life? And those are always, like maybe growing up, it would have been something in athletics I would have wrote down. But, I think about that now, and it's really how you define success, and a really good way for me to define success. And I think this is a personal thing for everybody, but it's kind of the beneficial blueprint you leave on society. So what are you doing that's going to better everybody else around you? So just kind of, and I hate to kind of get nostalgic and look back at stuff and be like, oh man, we've come so far. I've come so far. But it does make me happy that I can do stuff like this, that I can make an impact on people's lives, and I promise you, I was at a time that I never thought I'd be able to do that. So for me to see that kind of come full circle, from where I was to where I am now with that, and then kind of hear the stories of people that I helped maybe a long time ago. And I promise you, I've got some emails that just put me in tears, because like I dedicate a lot of time to people, maybe I wasn't in a good spot myself, but I still kind of gave somebody my heart, and it really sped them off to do a lot of other things that I didn't know about, and that came back full circle on me. And I mean, I'm the most grateful for stuff like that. So, I mean, that's a really good question.
Yeah, and gratitude is the spice to life. It just makes the
Yeah.
world go around.
Oh yeah.
So next question, what sport or what athlete, like famous athlete, that resembles you the most?
Well, I have pictures over here on my wall of a ton of athletes. I have paintings on my wall, but I'm looking at one right now of Kobe Bryant. Um, so once you start to understand Kobe, you start to understand another level of thinking. There's a book called Relentless. I definitely think an entrepreneur should read this book. It's called Relentless. It's by Tim S. Grover. But basically, he talks about 3 levels of thinking. And this guy was a personal trainer for Kobe Bryant. He's also a personal trainer for Michael Jordan. And he has 3 different levels of thinking. And the top level, he had names for him. It was called a cleaner. And then the second level was called a closer. And then the bottom level was called a cooler. But the cleaner mindset is one of extreme confidence. And it's really misunderstood as being cocky, being arrogant. And it's this mindset of complete domination. And it's also this mindset that makes you good at like one, really exceptional at one thing. It may make you suck at a lot of other things, but you're really, really exceptional at one thing. You know, and Kobe struggled with a lot of stuff in his marriage and a lot of stuff, you know, outside of basketball. He wasn't very good at it. He was arguably one of the best basketball players ever. So, and the idea of somebody below that would be a closer, somebody who can turn it on when they need to, but maybe not do it on a consistent basis, but they would never be considered the very best at that. And I think we admire those with that mindset of the top level of people, but it's hard to really let our self-doubts go enough in order to wrap our mind around that mindset. I still find myself doubting at a level where it wouldn't be considered that top level. So without a doubt, Kobe Bryant.
That's awesome. That's funny because I'm MJ all the way. Kobe.
Oh, yeah, you gotta be. Right.
Okay, so this is the last question, and then we'll open it up. Let me see what time it is for a second. Okay, so this will be the last question, and then we'll open up if anyone else has any questions. I love Q&A, like I live it. So this is like how Lewis Howes ends his interviews, and I kind of want to end it with you. It's the last day on earth. It is like everything of yours is gone. All of your, everything, like your clothes, like your gym, like everything that you have read, everything that you have put out, like all motivational, everything. But your family and friends are there. And they say, we have nothing to remember you by, which that's kind of like a dagger in the heart. Like, we have nothing to remember you by, you know? It's all been erased. But here's a piece of paper and here's a pen. Write down 3 truths. What is it? 3 truths you know to be true.
It's really, really good. That's a great question. Wow. I would say one thing that I've been thinking about really a lot within the last 6 months is kind of this idea that we're all one thing on this earth. We're all the galaxy. And there's lots of books that point to this. One of the best books is The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. If you haven't read that book, you'll definitely need to read that book. It's a Dan McMillan book. But the whole point of that book is he's in search, and I won't give it too much away, but he's in search for something. He's trying to find something, and this is us trying to find success. And it's more of a realization than it is a destination. And he realizes that he has everything that makes up the universe also makes up him, and we're all connected in some weird way. And it's just about letting go and realizing, and not trying to grind and find it. So I would say that this idea of that we are the universe. And he asks him in the book, he goes, where are you? So I would literally 3 things. So these 3 is what I would say. And they have meaning to me. And if you read that book, they'll have you. But I would say, he asks him in the book, where are you? And he goes, UCLA. And he goes, where's UCLA? He goes, that's in California. He goes, where's California? Okay. He went out until he gets to the galaxy. He goes, well, where's the galaxy? He goes, I don't know. He goes, that's the point. You don't know. And he goes, where are you? And he finally, towards the end of the book, he goes, I am here. And so it's about being in the moment. It's all we are is this moment. So I am here. And he goes, what is it? And of course, he would answer with the time. And then you keep asking, how does he know that's the time? Of course, you don't. So he's saying, time is now. I am here. The time is now. And what are you? I am the moment. That's it. Last day is, there is no past, there is no future. There's only this very moment. And there are no ordinary moments. So I think it's important to, those three things are a kind of a baseline for me to reset myself. And that book was, I've read that over and over again. You can't get enough. You can't get enough Dan's stuff. So those three things. Where are you? What time is it? And who are you?
I love it.
I'll write down.
I love it. I love it. So does anyone have any questions they want to ask Wesley? Anything they want to share? Takeaways? Y'all know that my favorite word is takeaway. So please unmute yourself and share and ask.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I have to say thank you because this call was amazing. Like I
really appreciate that.
Development is like my thing. So my question for you is, you gave us some of like your favorite books and you mentioned you watch like YouTube videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, my kid's screaming, of course. But what would be some more suggestions as far as personal development?
Yeah. 4 Agreements. I don't know if you've read that book, but the 4 Agreements. Without a doubt, that's something that we all, that book can be a staple for sure. One of the pillars. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you haven't read that, I mean, that's every entrepreneur should read that book. Way of the Peaceful Warrior, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It's another great book. I mean, with those are kind of the first 4 that I read that were like, all right, now it just felt right to read them. So, but the 4 Agreements, man, I think everybody should read that book for sure. If there's just one, I would say it would be the 4 Agreements for right now. And for YouTube stuff, look at Les Brown's stuff. Look at Eric Thomas's stuff. Look at Zig Ziglar and some of the really old guys. But and of course Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins. Phenomenal stuff.
Awesome. I'll get a list from you. I feel like we should have a powwow about personal development.
Oh, yeah.
I told you guys to have pen and paper out. I told you. Does anyone else have any other questions or anything?
I just have to say thank you for this call so much. And I am right there with you about the balance thing. And I struggled with it for so long until I said, fuck everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it all boils down to, like, I know what Nicole was trying to say, like people with that have kids and stuff, but like I typed into the comment box, you need to change that balance word with your priorities.
That's it.
But thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I met with Ron. She had a really great tip about balance. It is okay to get out of balance. So like you're here and you're hustling, you're grinding or whatever. I mean, even if you hit the bottom of the plateaus, you have to hit those moment balance because you are the one that has to like get it back and like just keep going. Like it's okay to have your like it's cool. Like just roll with it. Have the power to choose. So
you know what? Like I think about this. Like if I told you in the very beginning that you're gonna go, and we all accept this, and everybody accepts this in the beginning. This is gonna be really difficult. This is not gonna be easy. You gotta put a lot of time and effort in. I think everybody is willing to do that, right? And that's like the starting point. That at least that's the bare minimum need, right? But if I told you that you're going to fail at this, like, and you accept that in the beginning, and you understand that I'm gonna suck at this. I'm gonna be really freaking terrible at this for a while. And you're okay with that in the beginning. But what happens? It's like you question everything. You're like, shit, should I be doing this? Am I on the right path? You know, maybe they are right about that. Maybe, but once you understand the steps to success, you understand that's the fourth step is fail at something. And you have to persevere. And that's where the personal development comes in with your self-talk, is you can have enough faith that you can overcome that you can persevere through that. So that's absolutely huge, huge, huge.
This is so great. I'm so glad this is recorded. If no one else has anything else, I'll let everybody go. Just thanks, Wes, so much for doing this. Like,
yes, thank you.
I can't even tell you how much. Like, this is so great. So I'll let you guys go. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.